Nicolas Cage's story begins in a home that looked intellectually rich on the outside but carried an emotional weight that was harder to define. Born into a family deeply connected to art and storytelling, he grew up surrounded by books, music, and creative expression. His father's structured, academic mindset contrasted sharply with his mother's more emotional and expressive nature, creating an environment filled with both inspiration and unpredictability. As a child, he often felt like he was observing more than participating, quietly absorbing the moods and tensions around him. When his parents separated, that sense of instability became more real, leaving him to navigate two different worlds at a young age. These early experiences didn't break him, but they shaped the way he understood emotion. Instead of expressing everything openly, he internalized much of it, storing feelings that would later find their way into his performances. Even then, there was a sense that he was searching for something deeper, an identity that felt fully his, separate from family expectations and emotional confusion. The weight of a famous name. Growing up with the Coppola surname came with both privilege and pressure. While it opened doors in some ways, it also created an invisible burden that followed him everywhere. At school, especially in environments where reputation mattered, he felt people saw his last name before they saw him. This made him question whether his future would ever truly belong to him, or if it would always be tied to expectations he didn't create. That feeling of being defined before proving himself became frustrating. Instead of embracing the connection, he began to resist it. He wanted to be recognized for his own effort, not for a legacy he had simply been born into. This internal conflict pushed him to look deeper into who he was and who he wanted to become. It wasn't about rejecting his family, but about finding independence within it. That struggle with identity became one of the most important forces in shaping his future decisions, guiding him toward a path that emphasized individuality over inheritance, reinventing himself as Cage. As he moved into his teenage years, the need to define himself became stronger. He began experimenting with different identities, styles, and influences, trying to understand what felt authentic. Inspiration came from unexpected places, artists who broke boundaries and characters who stood apart from the ordinary. Eventually, he made a bold decision that would symbolize his independence. He changed his name. Dropping, quote, Coppola and becoming, quote, Cage wasn't just a professional move, it was deeply personal. It marked a clear line between who he had been and who he wanted to become. This decision gave him a sense of ownership over his path, allowing him to step into the world without carrying the same weight of expectation. Around this time, acting began to feel less like an interest and more like a direction. It offered him a space where he could explore emotion freely without needing to explain it. Through performance, he could finally express what had long remained unspoken. Early struggles in Hollywood. Like many aspiring actors, his first years in Hollywood were filled with uncertainty. Roles were small, opportunities were limited, and rejection was constant. There were moments when scenes he worked hard on didn't even make it into the final cut, which could have easily discouraged him. But instead of stepping back, he leaned in. He understood that progress in this industry rarely comes quickly, and he was willing to learn through experience. Even when he had connections that could have given him an easier path, he chose to build his career from the ground up. He wanted to prove that he belonged there, not because of his family, but because of his own effort. This period taught him patience and resilience. Each small role became a lesson, each setback a reason to improve. What stood out most wasn't immediate success, but his refusal to give up when things didn't go his way. Developing a unique acting voice. As he gained more experience, his approach to acting began to evolve into something distinctive. He didn't aim for safe or predictable performances. Instead, he leaned into intensity, often pushing emotional boundaries in ways that felt raw and unfiltered. He believed acting should feel real, not just look real, and that belief guided his choices. This approach sometimes surprised audiences, but it also made his work memorable. He wasn't afraid to take risks, even if it meant stepping outside conventional expectations. Over time, this unpredictability became part of his identity as an actor. He wasn't trying to fit into a mold, he was creating his own. This commitment to authenticity helped him stand out in a competitive industry, setting the stage for the opportunities that would soon follow. Breakthrough and recognition. His rise to recognition came gradually, but once it began, it was impossible to ignore. Roles that showcased both emotional depth and charisma introduced him to wider audiences. He proved he could move between vulnerability and confidence with ease, making his performances feel layered and human. The turning point came when he delivered a performance that demanded complete emotional honesty. It wasn't just acting, it was immersion. That role earned him major recognition and solidified his place in the industry. For the first time, the world saw not just potential, but undeniable talent. This moment wasn't just about awards or attention, it was about validation. After years of uncertainty, he had finally proven to himself and others that he belonged. Life at the peak of fame. At the height of his career, success came in ways he had once only imagined. His films reached global audiences, and his name carried significant influence. With that success came opportunities, financial rewards, and a level of visibility that few experience. Yet, beneath the surface, something felt incomplete. Fame brought recognition, but it also created distance from normal life, from privacy, and sometimes even from himself. The constant attention and expectations made it difficult to slow down and reflect. While the world saw achievement, he often felt the quiet weight of pressure. It was a reminder that success doesn't always bring clarity. Sometimes, it raises new questions about identity and purpose, exploring meaning beyond success. During this period, he began exploring interests outside of acting. Art, architecture, and history became areas of curiosity, offering a different kind of fulfillment. These pursuits weren't about public recognition, they were personal. They allowed him to connect with something deeper than career success. His homes and collections reflected this curiosity, filled with pieces that held meaning beyond their value. Yet even with these interests, the search for balance continued. He was learning that fulfillment isn't something that comes automatically with achievement. It requires reflection, intention, and sometimes stepping away from what once defined you. Financial challenges and reality check. The financial crisis brought a sudden and difficult shift in his life. Decisions that once seemed manageable became overwhelming, leading to significant losses. Properties were sold, and stability was tested in ways he hadn't experienced before. This period forced him to confront reality directly. There was no avoiding responsibility, no easy solution. Instead of retreating, he chose to keep working, taking on roles consistently to rebuild. It wasn't glamorous, but it was necessary. This phase reminded him that success can change quickly, but resilience comes from continuing forward. Rebuilding through work and discipline. Rather than letting setbacks define him, he focused on rebuilding step by step. He accepted a wide range of roles, approaching each one with the same commitment. This wasn't about prestige, it was about consistency. Through steady effort, he began to regain stability. More importantly, he developed a new perspective on work. Acting was no longer just about recognition, it became a way to move forward, to stay grounded. This shift allowed him to reconnect with his craft in a more meaningful way. A shift in perspective. Over time, his understanding of success began to change. It was no longer tied solely to fame or financial achievement. Instead, it became about balance, purpose, and personal growth. The challenges he faced helped him separate identity from external success. He began to value experiences and relationships more deeply, recognizing that fulfillment often comes from simpler, quieter moments. Finding balance in simplicity. In recent years, his life has taken on a more grounded tone. He continues to work, but with a different energy, less driven by pressure and more by intention. Time with family, creative expression, and everyday routines have become more meaningful. This shift reflects growth, showing that life doesn't always need to move at full speed to feel valuable. Creative renewal and reflection. His recent performances reflect a deeper sense of calm and reflection. There is still intensity, but it is more controlled, more thoughtful. He brings experience into his roles, allowing them to feel richer and more authentic. This phase of his career feels less about proving something and more about expressing something real. A legacy of transformation. Nicolas Cage's journey is not defined by a single moment of success or failure. It is defined by change, by the ability to adapt, to rebuild, and to keep moving forward. His career reflects both highs and lows, but more importantly, it reflects resilience. Continuing the journey forward today, his story continues, shaped by experience and reflection. He remains active, still exploring, still creating. His path reminds us that life is not a straight line, but a series of changes. And sometimes, the most meaningful part of the journey is simply continuing, one step at a time.